Speakers, the keynotes are still coming, so we saved the best for later. But the pitch competition is always really fun, and I think for all 7 or 8, maybe even 10 years, Bill Reichert has been leading the charge with the investor panel. So this year, for the first time, we're going to have 4 teams pitch. They get about 4 minutes to present a little bit more about what they are doing, and then the investors are going to grill them with some questions. And then at the end, we're going to do a pretend partner meeting, basically, where the investors discuss amongst each other which company they should invest in. So without further ado, let's see if we can get everybody up here. So just to remind you, Holistic Air, My Buddy AI, what was the other one? Palette Club, and Zen Sports are the finalists that are going to pitch. Yeah. Okay. Bill? All right, everybody. Welcome. Hey. Bill, thanks for
always a pleasure.
This, always.
Yes, always a pleasure. Okay. So great to see you all here. Welcome to the 2019 version of the Startup Conference. Always a fun event. So today we're going to reprise one of our traditional events here. Ah, here he is. Okay. Hey. Welcome, welcome. So Nima, is it okay we just quickly run through the introduction?
Intro is perfect. Let everybody know who you are and
all right.
Why you're here.
So I'm going to ask my colleagues here on the panel to quickly introduce themselves, starting with Ken.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ken Elephant. I'm a managing director and co-founder of Sorensen Ventures, and we're an early-stage fund. We just closed about 2 years ago our fund of about 110 million. We focus on companies that are in the security segment as well as the infrastructure software investment. And we've been involved with companies like Fastly, Carbon Black, Alien Vault, and DocuSign, among a bunch of others. And we completely focus on early-stage companies.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Hey everybody, Michael Sidgmore, partner and co-founder at Broadhaven Ventures. We are a seed stage fintech fund that invests off the balance sheet of a partner company called Broadhaven Capital Partners, which is a fintech investment bank. We've been involved with a number of early stage fintech companies, both in here in Latin America. So some of you may be familiar with MoneyLion, Carta, Scale Factor, Credit Justo, and Trizic.
I'm Pavel Cherkashin. I'm the founder and managing partner of Minddraw Capital. We have about 3 years old, 200 million under management, doing very speculative stuff, mostly focusing on deep tech, so AI, autonomous vehicles, but also doing, going broadly from fintech to artificial diamonds and did 2 IPOs already, 3 unicorns in the portfolio in the last 3 years.
Hi, everyone. My name is Harshita Khilari, and I'm a partner over at Decipher Capital. Decipher is an early stage, so specifically seed and pre-seed stage venture fund that focuses on fintech and blockchain companies. So we don't do tokens, we don't do coins, we take traditional equity stakes in companies that are blockchain and blockchain adjacent.
Nuno Gonçalves Pedro, I'm the managing partner and founder of Strive Capital. The second fund is focused mostly on deep tech, early stage, so pre-seed and seed investments. And then we also do some late stage investments because it's mostly a high net worth family vehicle. And then that's my weekend job. My day job is with Grisham Robotics, where I basically lead all operations around deal flow, value proposition to startups, et cetera. And I'm also responsible for how we bring in what companies we bring in. Some investments would include companies like Zoom Pizza, Spin, Starship, Zipline, a few others. And on the Strive side, my first fund, we invest in companies like App Annie, KeepSafe, and then later on in companies like Gusto and Rubrik that some of you might have heard.
Great, thanks team. And, by the way, my name is Bill Reichert, and I'm Managing Director of Garage Technology Ventures. Garage is a seed and early stage venture capital fund. We're focused on primarily deep technology with a compelling value proposition, targeting a significant enough niche that they can defend where there are not a whole bunch of competitors, and they can get to an inflection point on a reasonable amount of capital. I'm also affiliated with a global venture fund called Pegasus Tech Ventures, which invests all over the planet on behalf of a network of over 25 corporate investors. So with that, what we're going to do today is somewhat different from the typical pitch event. We are going to have four companies that you guys selected, I guess, as the finalists. They're going to pitch for about 4 minutes, and then we're going to do Q&A for about 4 minutes. And then at the end, we're going to have a public deliberation on, as if we were a single venture fund, as if we're partners in a fund, we're going to talk about which one of the four companies we want to invest in. So the idea was to give you guys a window into how VCs see and listen to and hear pitches, and then how we negotiate with each other on which company to invest in. So hopefully that'll be fun, and hopefully the entrepreneurs will enjoy it as well. But with that, let's kick off the first pitch.
Okay,
all right.
Hello again, everyone, and hello to you. My name is Maria Lee, and I'm a founder of Holistic Air. The pollution face mask industry has a market size of over $2.7 billion, and it is on track to grow to over $4 billion by 2022. And that's because 9 out of 10 people live in areas that are affected by bad air quality. The face mask is their only defense against outdoor air pollution. In India, China, and other parts of Asia, wearing a mask is a part of daily life. 4.7 million people die from outdoor air pollution every single year. 76% of the masks on the market don't actually work. And that's because 3 out of 4 people wear them incorrectly. They look easy enough to put on, but unless they're sealed properly on your face, fine dust particles can still get in. And even if you do get it on right, the high levels of carbon dioxide trapped inside your mask is also dangerous. That's why we created Respire, the first ever wearable device that protects you from the inside of your mask so that your mask can protect you from the outside. Holistic Air's Respire is one of those devices that will change the mask industry. It is small, lightweight, easy to use. It tells you if your mask is sealed on properly, and it alerts users when they've reached unhealthy levels of carbon dioxide. Finally, giving people access to data that can help save lives. Our prototype is currently undergoing user tests, and the results are really good. We're here today to ask for support in getting Respire into the hands of mask users everywhere so that we can, together, educate and save lives. Our team won first place in the Seoul Hardware Hackathon this past March. We have also been awarded support from the Korean government in the form of grants and multiple accelerator programs. Our crowdfunding campaign starts this fall, and hopefully, if we're successful, will become our gateway into markets all over the world. Please vote for us, and I look forward to your feedback and your questions.
Okay, thank you. Wild applause. All right, questions for Maria.
So first question, how are you going to market? So your sensors, you're not selling the masks themselves. How are you going to get the sensors in the hand of consumers? How is your go-to-market strategy?
Yes, so we're going to start with our crowdfunding campaign this fall. I actually live in Korea. I've lived there for 8 years, and I've come here for the startup conference. And so it's a real issue for us. Out of 45 days out of a year, those are the only clean days we get. Every other day, it's gray skies, but not from overcast. It's from bad air quality. So it's a really unhealthy environment, and that's just Korea. That doesn't include China or India or other parts of the world. And so we believe that a crowdfunding campaign in Korea will help us get our product out to other parts of Asia, because Korea has a lot of credibility. After our crowdfunding campaign, we'd like to also try to partner with face mask companies. because we believe that we can probably work with them to sell these at the same time.
Does that mean, are you planning on being B2C or B2B2C? Are you going to sell to the face mask? Will they want to integrate you, or are they not going to want to integrate you, but maybe they'll co-sell you?
So it's a new idea. It's a new product, and it's a real problem. And so the idea to do the crowdfunding is to get people aware of the problem of carbon dioxide being trapped inside the mask. It's getting them aware that this is a product that they really need, and to get some traction so that when we work with other companies, it'll make sense to them to want to work with us.
But have you talked to any of the face mask? Have any of the face mask companies already said, sure, we'll sign up with you?
We haven't talked to them
You
yet.
haven't? Okay, all right. I'm sorry. Other questions?
Could you, oh, go ahead.
I still don't understand. You're trying to sell on this problem of polluted air, but in reality, you don't solve this problem, right? You only can indicate if I have more carbon dioxide under my mask than I would.
So we solved two problems. I wish we could solve the air pollution problem. I think there's a lot of people working on that, unless I can put a giant air purifier on someone's face, which would be probably more like a bubble. We're trying to be able to live in the world, right, for the time being. What this device does, you can put it on any face mask. So there's tons of face masks that are on sale, but people that wear the mask don't wear it correctly. And when you don't have a proper seal, you might as well not wear a mask because the fine dust particles still get in. So the first solution is letting people know that their mask is sealed properly, right? And then second is to measure the carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is not bad for you, really, because we all have it in our bodies, right? But it's the long-term exposures. And in these countries, people wear masks all day. My kids go to school in Korea, and the air quality inside the school is as bad as it is outside. And so kids wear masks in class all day long.
Could you talk to me a little bit about the pre-existing mask market? The reason I'm asking is because your TAM isn't that big. So I'm just wondering, is it super fragmented? Is it consolidated? What is the likelihood of actually getting a feasible product entered into the market and gaining share?
Getting a feasible...
Like a product into the market to be able to, effectively gain share. Are there a lot of little producers, or are there a handful of big producers? What does the landscape look like?
Of the mask or the device?
Masks.
The mask, there's massive companies that make masks. It's a $2.7 billion industry right now.
Are there a lot of them, though, or are they just a handful of?
Oh, no, 3M, there's so many big companies. Vogue Mask comes out of San Francisco here.
So what's the average price of a mask, and what's your average price?
Right, that's a really good question. So it depends on the type of mask you want. There's daily disposable masks that are anywhere between $1 to $2.
Right.
And then there's masks that are reusable that roughly range about $80 to $90, maybe even $150, depending on what you want. All of those masks are also have to be exchanged every 6 months because of the filter. So it gets dirty, so you have to replace it. So the price of masks is very expensive. Our device is reusable, and it doesn't matter which mask you're on, and the retail price point that we're aiming for is $79.
That's 70.
Wow.
For the mask.
Not for the mask, for the device.
Sensor.
Oh, for the sensor.
Yes.
And so, by the way, congratulations on building something that I think can have real impact on society.
you.
That's awesome. My key question is around the IP that you have here. So 3M and a lot of these other companies that actually are creating the masks have R&D teams, and I have to think that they know that there's not a great seal. Why can't they make something just like this?
I suppose they can, but I believe that our product is hopefully being the first out will become brand recognizable because we're also focusing in areas that, I don't know, actually I'm curious why this device doesn't already exist. It's a real life problem for us, right? When we go out, I don't even know if my kids have their masks on correctly. So if it was something they were going to create, they would have created it.
Is anyone on your team from a mask company?
No, I have 2 other engineers on my team, so we're a very small team. One used to make products like toys, and so product you probably recognize is the Tickle Me Elmo. And my other engineer, he is a robotics engineer.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry we're out of time, guys. But Maria, thank you very much.
Thank you
Okay.
for your time.
All right, my buddy AI.
Next up.
Thank you very much. Hello, my name is Ivan. I'm the co-founder and CEO of MyBuddyAI, and we're building the voice-based AI English tutor for kids. We help children practice spoken English by talking with a virtual AI-powered character, just like they would talk with a human tutor. So this story started when I brought my daughter Sophia to the United States when she was 3 years old, and she had to learn speaking English. Of course, there are like tons of English learning apps and websites, but it turns out that the only way to practice speaking online was through tutoring platforms that connect children and teachers via video conferencing. And these platforms were growing extremely fast in recent years. Like, for instance, VIP Kid has grown from 0 to 750 million annual revenue in less than 5 years. Problem is, companies like VIP Kid, which charge $20, $30 per lesson, can only reach a tiny percentage of 500 million children who are trying to learn English now, including 20 million immigrant children here in the US. So enter MyBuddyAI, the AI tutor that can tutor every child on the planet. So meet Buddy.
Hello, Ivan.
Hi, Buddy.
How are you?
I'm great, and you?
I'm great. Thank you. Do you want to play dinosaurs?
I'm a little bit busy now, man.
Bye-bye. See
Bye.
you later.
Bye. So that's our Buddy. So Buddy helps children learn vocabulary, train pronunciation, and even practice real-life dialogues. We had to develop a proprietary natural language understanding technology, and we went through hours and hours of recordings of human tutoring and understood that we can deliver 90% of what a human tutor can do at only 2% of the price. And technology makes us different from all other language learning apps out there, which may provide some pronunciation training, but does not help you with conversation practice. So we launched a year ago and already generated $170,000 in subscription revenue. We are growing 20% month over month. And so last month we made like $24,000. This month we will make over 30. We already made 20 this month. Our unit economics is solved. So the LTV is over $50 and CAC at 12. And while we acquire 60% of our users using Facebook and Google Ads, a quarter of our users find us via word-of-mouth referrals. And we also just signed a partnership agreement with online school and with guys who built projectors for children. We have over 27,000 ratings on the web store, almost all of which are 5-star ratings. And we're a small team, only 4 people, but we have the experience of building powerful voice-first products. Previously, we worked at Cubic AI, where we built an Amazon Echo-like smart speaker, and the company was acquired. So now we're raising $1 million to reach 1 million ARR early next year, build partnerships, and advance the product. So join us on the mission, and I hope our children, the next generation, will be able to really speak to each other. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, questions for Ivan.
What's your retention rate? Like, let's say 3 months retention.
It is 40% per year. Like, comparing to...
Per year?
Per year. Comparing to Duolingo, which has like 5%.
And what's the sample on that? So when did you launch?
We launched in last March, but
so what would count as 40%? How many users are that?
So
4?
on annual subscriptions, so for 20,
He hit me. You guys saw it.
so we have like a 200 users cohort.
Sorry?
200 users.
200 users,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
So that would be 40% of 200.
Yeah.
Understood, clear. Could you tell us a little bit about your funnel, sort of total number of users that have registered, that are still registered, monthly active,
So monthly
daily
active-
actives or weeklies?
Yeah, so monthly active, 30,000.
30,000?
Yes, monthly active. And we have a bit over 3,000 paying users now on the platform.
Ah, okay. So most of them are free.
Most of them are free now, yes.
Okay.
Only 3,000 are subscribers, are paying subscribers now.
Okay, so following up on Nuno's point, I mean, if you look at January paid, how many people who were paying in January are still paying now?
From January,
Right. Would you say is it
so
is it over 60%?
So we have
or-
different, so annual subscribers, and so we also have like weekly subscribers, so they behave differently.
Okay.
So for weekly subscribers, the retention would be like 75% a month.
Okay, okay, all right. So, I mean, we're testing whether the LTV
Yeah.
is fair, or if it's
Yes,
exaggerated.
yeah, I
Okay,
can
all right.
give
And
all
what are the
numbers.
price points again for subscription versus the rest? So you say it's a freemium model. So what's the bar to start paying for subscription?
So it's 30,000 monthly active users and 3,000 paying subscribers. That's our numbers.
But what's the
now.
weekly
much do they
subscription?
pay?
But
What do they
what
pay?
forces people to become a paid subscriber?
Oh,
what's
so
what do they get?
We have a pretty short, like a free experience. That after that we just ask you to pay, or you can also refer a friend. And by the way, 50% of users send invitations to to get free
What's
premium
the
content.
kind of jumping off point though from free to paying? Like how many, is it a number of lessons? Is it like after a week, then they have to start paying? And then
It's
you're
usually
seeing-
happens, like within a week. Within a week. Yeah. More than 50% within a day, actually.
So could you clarify, how much is the weekly subscription?
It's $8.
$8?
$8.
Okay. And then is there a monthly version?
No, but there's an annual. It's 50. Yeah.
$50.
Yeah.
Ah, so you pay 50 up front and you get it for
Yeah,
a year.
yeah.
That's your point.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
so VIP Kit uses the same strategy basically.
Okay.
And it's not the final prices, by the way. We A/B test prices like every week,
Okay.
but that's the best model at this point.
Okay.
Best tested model that we
Okay. All right. And how many of your $8 subscribers have flipped to 50?
Oh, I don't know. No.
Okay. Okay. So, any other questions? How about efficacy? Is there a way you can benchmark your efficacy compared to VIP Kids?
Advocacy?
Yeah. How good are you compared to VIP Kids?
for example.
Right.
So VIP Kit, first of all, so it's hard to compare it directly because they are like human tutors versus us.
Right.
So we have 50%, like 46% advocacy rate, and I don't know their advocacy rate, unfortunately.
Okay. Michael.
Can you talk a little bit about your technology? So how have you developed the AI and trained it and made it so that kind of responsive works, et cetera, and speak to the team in that regard as well?
So I mentioned that previously we worked at voice assistant company. My co-founder and I was a co-founder of our previous company as well. It was sold. So we kind of have the experience of building voice-first products, and so we just applied it. Now it's 5 people, and we plan to double the development team by the end of summer. And we also have 2 educators working with us, but they're mostly like advisors. They're 2 PhDs in psychology of learning, and education sciences.
Okay. Great. And by the way, is that really your daughter?
Yes.
Really good. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Next.
Okay, Nicolas. Hello, I'm
right.
Nicolas Mandiara. I'm the founder of Palette Club.
Palette Club.
The world of wine is a $360 billion market, which is the most fragmented consumer market of that size. There is a big problem in the middle of the market. 100,000 wineries are shipping 1 million new labels every year to 1 billion consumers who don't understand them. So adding to the confusion, the wine has become way more expensive. Wine prices of quality wine have basically outgrown 3 times inflation in the past 20 years. Moreover, the main problem, the main consumer problem, not understanding their taste in wine, has never been addressed with innovation in any retail. So this is where we come in. We built a new service which is based on selling wine as an experience and not anymore as a product push. So it enables you to explain your personal profile with using more than 200 traits and matching your profile with the best wine regions you would like. It enables you to have a very flexible subscription, making it very easy to buy wine without even having to choose bottles. We added a lot of wine education features because that's one of the main customer frictions, like videos of the winemakers as well. But the biggest point is that we ship wine with a value because we match it to your personal taste. So how we do that is we built a data science model. So it's 12 PhDs who have worked on this, neuroscientists, mathematicians, etc. It's the most advanced in the market by far. So sommeliers enters the reviews of the wines we ship, so basically with more than 30 traits out of 200, so very precisely. And the customers just have to rate from 1 to 5, and that builds, after 4 bottles, their initial profile. The 4 bottles come usually wrapped in a box, in a nice blind tasting kit. We use blind tasting to avoid the biases. It also makes it fun. And the IP decides which of the wines come in. And then the cycle continues because we ship those bottles wrapped by a tissue with a secret bottle number. And after that, basically, the more you rate, the more it updates your profile, the more the system learns. So we have launched last year in beta, and we started to get traction in March, February, March. We're now actually accelerating pace. Our current growth in June is going to be 60% compared to May. And it's probably going to grow faster because there's big deals coming up now on the distribution side and basically on our go-to-market strategy. But the best news is that customers are super sticky. The average ratings go up every time they receive new shipments. And basically, we have only, for customers reaching shipment number 2, the churn is less than 5% for every new shipment, which means we probably have, because we only operate in the premium segment, between $17 and $60 a bottle, which means we probably will have the highest LTV of the market. Whoops. Up. It turned off.
Please tell me.
There it is.
Okay, there we go.
So our business model is simple. It's direct e-commerce, B2C, subscription-based. So the subscription is based on the number of bottles you want. It's very flexible. You can, like, whatever, say, frequency and the price range. We buy directly from wineries, and we sell directly to the customer, which basically creates 2 types of values for the end customer. One is the creation of the wines. We only take like 5% of what we actually see, and then we match them through the algorithms. So as I like to say, if you go random for a $20 bottle, instead of having 10% of chance of getting good value, and then you go to 90%. Okay, so my team is a very experienced team of online marketing, and I've built a $100 million e-commerce business before. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. All right.
So
Okay,
2 questions. So
yes.
your rating seems super low. 3.1 average is very low for the start of a business of this sort. And the second question I had is around laws, right? Laws of distribution of alcohol in the US are pretty stringent, depend on states. So how are you going to go around those? So the two questions.
So for the rating, it's not low, because it's from 1 to 5 on 4 first bottles, which are polarizing, and they are meant to be very different, and they're meant that you won't like some of them. Okay.
So this is the rating of the wines. It's not customer rating.
Yes, it's a rating
on your
from the wines.
service.
Sorry for the confusion, but
Clear.
it's basically the customers only have to do one thing: is rate from 1 to 5 the blind tasting bottles, and then they go up because the algorithm do a good job. So it's very normal that we are actually in the middle at the beginning. So wine laws, it would be too long today to explain. The coincidence is that today the Supreme Court is expected to rule on wine retail in the US. So we have an importer license, wholesale and retail, so we can ship to California. One of our growth thing is that we will be able to ship to 12 more states this summer. So then you go state by state, unless the Supreme Court today says we can reach all the states at once. So in any case, you can scale, but if they say that will scale faster. We have basically the licenses, and we have really figured out how we will grow. But it's a complicated thing, so I would use too much time to explain.
But now you sell in California only, or?
Yeah, we started California only, but California is 18% of the addressable market of the US. Just to give you an idea, for us, that means 2 million people, which are the core target in our addressable market. And I only need 3,000 to break even, so it's...
Michael?
One question on distribution and one on CAC. So on distribution, how are you going about partnering with wineries to get the wine?
So I have 2 top sommeliers. One of them is master advanced. So they go to the wineries, they go to all the fairs. They've traveled all over around the world in the past 18 months. So it's a tough job, and they're doing it very well.
And you're getting, and how long does it take to get wineries to sign up and get the bottles? Because it sounds like you're getting bottles at relatively...
Oh, as soon as wineries love us. I was surprised how much, because they're already using data, and what they're interested in having the customer feedback loop they never have. So they actually ask that we give them back office credentials so that they could see some of the data. So they really want to go long term. And if you remember, I was saying the entire market is running a product push. Like, everybody's trying to say, oh, I have the best bottle with the best price. We actually go see wineries with our data and say, we put it in the system, and then you say, oh, we have 300 people match that, so we're going to buy that much, and for the next 3 years. And they love that logic.
And then on CAC, I may have missed it, but what's the CAC on the customer?
Our current CAC is $60.
60?
$60 customer acquisition cost. The average basket for every shipment is $117. A new shipment is 6 weeks.
That's monthly, or that's 6?
6 weeks. So people choose, they start monthly, and they can choose 2 months, 3 months. So the average of the first 300 customers cohort now, which are subscribers today, is 1.5 months. So 8 shipments a month.
Okay.
So that means
do you
that...
have a quick question?
I do. I think that, well, at least for me, one of the big problems is going to be your access to wines. Because if I like Screaming Eagle, and they are always sold out, and they don't want to distribute through you.
So you have the investor, super connoisseur, super expensive wine bias. The market above $60 of wine in value is less than 1%.
Okay, so you're going for the
So
mid-range.
I'm going for where the growth is. It's like 15% growth, $17 to $60.
He's going for me, Ken, not you.
And those wines, we will come. We have a plan for that. But it's not addressed first, and we're not addressing top connoisseurs. We're coming to that. If I have time, I will explain. But that's not what we're targeting first.
Okay, I'm sorry we're out of time. But thank you so much. Palace
Thank you.
Club. All right. All right, last but certainly not least,
Zen Sports.
Zen Sports. Come on up.
Thank you.
Well, applause.
Let's wake up, everybody. All right. My name is Mark Thomas, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Zen Sports. Most people, when they think of sports betting, they think of some underground market where you're going to call your bookie down the street, and if you lose that bet, he's going to send Johnny No-Thumbs to your apartment and break your kneecaps with a bat if you don't pay up. The reality is that sports betting is actually a highly regulated, legal, $120 billion market worldwide. Even in the United States, which is notoriously super conservative when it comes to betting and gambling, the US Supreme Court ruled last year that states can begin legalizing sports betting, and 13 states already have. But despite the fact that sports betting is a huge market and highly regulated and legal, there are tons of pain points that exist with traditional online sportsbooks. Namely, you first have to trust that when you send your funds to Aruba, they're not going to run off with your money. or that your funds will even get to Aruba, because oftentimes your bank will decline those transactions, or it'll take 3 to 5 days to fund your account. So good luck betting on that game tonight that you wanted to bet on. And worst of all, sportsbooks only make money when you lose. The house always wins, right? So they always set the odds and the terms in their favor, which isn't good. So here's Zen Sports to the rescue. We've built the only peer-to-peer, decentralized mobile sports betting app, where anybody can come in and create and accept any kind of sports bet with anybody else in the world with just a few taps of a button. We make it super seamless. You can download the app from the App or Play Store. You can deposit funds and bet with cryptocurrencies or fiat. And it's fun and social. So it doesn't feel like your traditional sportsbook that you're using from some online website. We launched just a couple of months ago, and prior to that, we took the time to get it right from a legal and regulatory perspective. We have several international gaming entities and licenses. We took the time to get approval from both Apple and Google to be live in the App and Play Store, something that you can't just run out and start doing tomorrow if you want. And we're working on getting licensed in the 13 or so states in the US that have legalized sports betting. So you talk about building moats around a business. You want to start this kind of product? Good luck. It's going to take you months to catch up to where we are. In the couple of months since we've launched, I think we have some pretty attractive KPIs with spending just about $1,000 a month on some Facebook ads. We've mostly been focusing on content to drive this. We've had over 4,000 bets created, doing over $125,000 a month in betting volume. Our average annual revenue per customer for the fees that we collect is approximately $450, and our CAC payback time is only 7 weeks. From a revenue model perspective, we charge an average of 3% for all bets that go through. So that's how we make money. I haven't talked too much about the cryptocurrency and blockchain angle, but we're actually going to be implementing smart contracts on the blockchain to further decentralize what we're doing. Because we are not a bookmaker in any way, shape, or form. We don't get in the middle of creating, accepting, or resolving bets. We want to be a truly decentralized, trustless system for sports betting. I think we've done a lot, very limited resources, myself and 2 amazing engineers. My last startup was a real estate tech startup that got acquired by Realtor.com in 2015. And we're currently raising a $1.5 million seed round, of which $250,000 is already closed. We're giving investors a choice of equity or tokens, depending on whatever they prefer. So come talk to me about investing and being part of the next revolution of sports betting, one Johnny No-Thumbs at a time.
All right. Okay, questions for Mark. I got to go with Harshita, right?
Yes.
You got it.
Right.
So I think gambling and gaming is such an intriguing sector, but I'm really curious about why the blockchain integration, just because trust is going to come at a cost, and in this particular case, it's going to be speed, because blockchain ain't fast. So talk to me about how that works when, bets are, by virtue of being bets, are going to be time sensitive.
Sure. So I would agree with that more if we're talking about like an online casino like blackjack or craps or roulette, where it's got to be like real time. And we do real time in-game betting. So up to this point, we've been semi-decentralized, which means we don't get in the middle of making, taking, or creating bets. We stay completely out of the bet-making process, but all the bets are hosted on our server, so they're not yet on the blockchain. We've partnered with and received an investment from Icon, which is a blockchain out of Korea. We feel it's one of the faster blockchains that's out there. It's much faster than Bitcoin, much faster than Ethereum. So by partnering with them, we actually feel we won't have some of the latency issues that you bring up. And so I feel with a combination of the fact that we're doing sports betting, not online casino gaming, we partnered with the right blockchain protocol, and I think we're setting this up from a development perspective the right way. I don't think we'll run into these issues that you're bringing up.
So if it's peer-to-peer, the KYC part, the know your customer part, becomes the whole thing, because
So
you have parties that are trading and they're basically making bets. How do you deal with that?
So we partnered with a company called Shifty Pro. We've integrated Shifty Pro directly into our platform. So when it's time for you to cash out your winnings, you have to go through KYC and AML to make sure you're not a criminal or doing anything nefarious with your funds. So we haven't built that ourselves, but we built it and integrated into our app. And just one real quick note on that, we really look at ourselves as a platform. We've really integrated a lot of other amazing products and APIs so that we haven't had to build these things from scratch, yet still provide all these services that our customers want and need.
Okay, follow up? Yeah?
Me?
Quick, yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understand this right. So if you're not acting as a bookmaker, there's a high probability that I could want to make a certain bet that no one will take the counter position of. So like it's not guaranteed?
So we have an over 87% acceptance rate of bets in our app. We're not doing this right now, but one thing we will be doing is providing a recommendation engine that if you are way outside, like one standard deviation of what traditional other bookmakers have, will warn you and say, hey, look, this has a low likelihood of being accepted, but look at us more like a trading platform. If you say you want to buy Bitcoin right now at $3,000, your order's not going to get filled. It's a very similar concept.
Okay, Michael, you had a follow-up?
Yeah, what's your revenue model? How are you making money?
So we charge 2% to takers and 4% for makers. So 2% for makers for adding liquidity to the marketplace, and 4% for takers for removing that liquidity from the marketplace.
Okay.
So you have 4,000 bets. How many users?
So we have a few thousand users. We have about 125 active paying customers, again, on just about $1,000 a month in marketing right now. As I mentioned before, the average revenue per customer per year is about $450, which means the average betting volume per customer per year is approximately $15,000.
For an average customer, that's for an average customer?
Yeah, it's about
All right.
3 times what we thought it would be.
Okay. Ken, did you have a?
Yeah, I had a question. By the way, I think this is a good bet. no pun. But secondly, if we have our own lawyer that looks over our investments, and I know that you wrapped up the legal issues with a bow here, but what would be the top 3 things that my lawyer would say, you got to watch out for this, this, and this?
I think on the U.S. side of things, what's interesting is the states that have legalized sports betting are actually kind of being somewhat unfriendly to mobile platforms. They're requiring us to partner with brick and mortars, except for New Jersey. They're much more advanced. So there could be a little bit of a slowness to market and slowness to adoption in the U.S. Because of the regulatory piece. To be honest, though, outside of the U.S., I mean, we've really checked off a lot of those boxes. I mean, we've got the KYC, the AML, the licenses, the entities set up. So I feel we're pretty well grounded for operations outside the U.S.
Okay, and where are you located? Where are you domiciled?
So we're domiciled in San Francisco, and we have a legal opinion from the top gaming law firm in the U.S.
Where are you incorporated?
Yep, we're incorporated both in the United States and Malta.
And in Malta.
And Malta, both.
Okay, all right.
Both, we have both US
last
and
quick
Malta.
question, Michael.
One quick question on who's your kind of target customer? Are they somebody who bets on other platforms? And then if so, how much of their wallet share are you going to get? Or are you getting new people who wouldn't bet before?
We have 2 really customer types. We have
Real
short, high rollers who like to provide liquidity to the marketplace as makers, and your casual recreational bettors who oftentimes are takers.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark. Okay. Okay, wow. All right, 4 interesting companies here. We're going to huddle here now. And the idea is that we are partners in a fund, and
I'm going to move because you hit me already.
I'm sorry.
God.
It was.
When I started opining, it's like.
So I got to apologize to my partner here, Nunu, because I whacked him because I thought he was being disrespectful to one of our entrepreneurs. I do apologize, though. Okay. I won't hit you again. Ken, though, on the other hand, I might hit you. I'm not sure. But no, do you have to leave or are you okay?
I'm good for 5 minutes.
You are good. Okay. All right. Great. So we got Holistic Air, we got MyBuddy.ai, we got Palette Club, and we got Zen Sports. Right? So let's just go through them quickly, one by one. What did you guys like about Holistic? Was there something you liked about them? Positives on Holistic.
I think it's for sure impactful in the world that we live in, obviously with increased pollution and air pollution. I think it's a solution that's trying to address the fact that people might have different fashion preferences. So they want to have their own mask and their own color, whatever, and so they just have the sensor that moves around. So those 2 things I certainly liked. I like the enthusiasm of the entrepreneur of Maria.
Mm-hmm. Okay, any other positives on Holistic?
Yeah, if I can look into the future in 20 years, and theoretically I can see this future where everybody wears masks for...
So you're pessimistic about our ability to clean up the air, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in this case, if we believe in the future where everybody will need a mask and somebody will come with really fancy and comfortable mask, this will probably be a critical component of that.
Okay. Sometime in the future, Michael.
Consumer solution. I think a consumer solution for this problem makes sense because kind of environmental solutions alone can't solve it. So I think it's a great idea.
Right. So rather than trying to sell masks, selling something that works with the mask is interesting. Okay, what are your concerns about Holistic?
I think that
the economics doesn't work.
the entrepreneur is a ton of energy, but to get confidence from an investor, I think that they need to get somebody on board from the industry.
From the industry, meaning the mask industry?
Yeah, from the mask industry.
Okay.
That understands distribution, that understands how to create moats of differentiation.
Yeah. There was a bit of a concern that they hadn't even talked to the mask people yet. That was surprising to me.
I think for me, their go-to-market is totally unclear. Going crowdfunding and then we see is not really a go-to-market strategy. It's a way of getting funded to start stuff, but not a go-to-market strategy. I think, secondly, competition, right? 3M does masks, and they do hardcore masks for mines. And if they're not going aggressively after this market right now, it's probably because it's not very big, as Pavel was saying. But they can certainly repurpose, and they're not known as not being an innovative company, 3M. So of the big companies, I would be very, very afraid of them. And at the end of the day, I think I share also what Ken was saying, which is the team maybe not be the right team to start, right, in terms of product and deployment.
Okay, anything else on holistic? Okay, MyBuddy. Let's talk about MyBuddy.ai. So AI to provide voice tutoring for kids to learn English. What do we like about MyBuddy?
I think the entrepreneur has the exact right domain experience to solve a problem in this area.
Okay, voice technology and foreign speaker. Okay, and what else do we like about MyBuddy?
Yeah, I know the founders for quite some time. They're awesome, great team. And also I like the space. We're one of the early investors in VIP Kid.
You were?
Yeah, so I've seen the space growing, and I see the huge potential. And I also like the metrics. So it's sort of too good to be true, and maybe it's because of the small scale, but if it can scale, it's a great business.
Okay, so are we conflicted because of your investment in VIP? We're okay? Okay. We won't talk about that. All right, negatives or did you have something else?
I like the gamification component with the educational application of it. I think that is saleable and interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Negatives on Ken.
I think the product is going to be very difficult to get right.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw a canned demo here, but unfortunately kids, especially kids that can't speak that well, I can imagine the robot's going to freak out.
Yeah. I think the use case itself, the product delivery will be complex at scale. Secondly, that's why, and I wasn't being disrespectful, but I was like, you're starting from a very small base. So this is something that happens a lot with entrepreneurs, this whole vanity metrics thing. Give me metrics, and it's percentage. I'm like, but that's like 4 people. In this case, it was 80, right? So I was off by an order of magnitude, I guess. But I mean, in some ways, I think it's early. I'm not a true believer in the use case. I do think that you can scale dramatically tutoring globally. And I think that's why VIP Kids have been so successful. So I'm a little bit more negative on the angle. If someone can nail NLP and nail this type of experience, but you have to nail gamification, that's a game, and media and entertainment, and you need to nail NLP. So it's 2 big things to actually nail, right? So I'm a little bit skeptical on that, on the product side.
Just to underscore Nuno's point, I think tutoring is such a difficult industry to get right. So many people have tried getting a foothold in a super, super fragmented, super hyper-local marketplace, and it's really, really difficult to do that.
Okay.
Any
other
thing, yeah,
Michael?
On the conversation aspect, I think it's great that it's conversational. I think that might help with retention over time. Question I have there, though, is it actually, like, how do you balance the conversation and teaching?
Okay, right. Okay. All right, so Palate Club, personalized wine recommendation platform. What do you guys think of that, other than wanting to become members, right? Strengths?
It's a money-rich business. It's very easy path to money, right? You're selling alcohol, it's always
Yeah, we didn't have a cannabis team here, but okay. But
I think it taps into 2 things that have definitely momentum in the market, the notion of bundling products and doing a subscription out of it, and being relatively digitally native brand and going to the market. So those 2 things I think are very positive.
Also, it's like a really safe way to learn about wine, right? You don't have to look like an idiot in front of a sommelier. So I think that's a really interesting component.
Okay. All right.
Tasting, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
and I think
negatives, concerns.
The industry there's way too many folks along the way in the supply chain that are taking margin. So over time, this should be a direct-to-consumer market.
This is a really complex value chain. I spent a lot of time looking at this 2012, 2013 when we had all this range of mobile apps coming to the market, and it's actually a lot more complex than we think it is, and it's not just regulation, right? Because you have the guys who own the vineyards who sometimes are not the wine producers, for example. Just even there, it's not as obvious as all of that. And then you have brands sometimes on top of the producers. So it's actually a really, really complex value chain. And disintermediating the brand here, I think, will be the most difficult piece. Because at the end of the day, I want certain brands. The part today that's not sorted is that I can get the wine in my place. Now, if that changes, if Supreme Court or whatever it is, and it changes, then Amazon can sell wine, right? I mean, you know.
Right. I mean, aren't you guys a little bit concerned that it's such a crowded market? Everybody's trying to sell you wine subscriptions these days, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Ken, sorry you got to fly off. All right, we'll carry the ball for you, Ken. All right. So, okay, Zen Sports, fourth company, Zen Sports. What do we like about Zen Sports?
I really like the industry.
Even more money, right? It seems even more money than wine. I don't know. Is it?
Yeah, TAM's huge.
Thank you.
Right.
Sorry.
So, we're unplugging Ken, I guess. Any other positives on Zen Sports?
Looks like also a very rich business, I would say. So easy path to money.
I think peer-to-peer is likely the right way to go to scale this quickly. So I think that's probably the right angle.
Okay. Concerns about Zen Sports?
Regulation. I mean, we've seen back and forth in the US, regulation moving forward and then moving backwards. Even in areas that are less aggressive than this, like, you know, skills related betting, right? Where you're basically playing games against each other. Even there, it's complex, let alone on this, right? Which is obviously betting. So, I mean, I think that's for me my single biggest concern. I'm also not, I think, just sharing your concern. I'm not sure you need blockchain for this. Maybe over the long term, but I'm not sure you need it in the short term.
Yeah, I'd share that as well. Why do you need blockchain for it? And also, why do you need to bet crypto necessarily? I mean, like, I wouldn't bet Bitcoin and hold on to Bitcoin. I'd bet cash, fiat, which you can, obviously. But I think, does this need to be a protocol-based business?
Maybe you bet on the price of Bitcoin. With
Bitcoin.
That's a double-edged play.
I'm sorry, is that a sport?
It could be, it's sports,
Okay.
And
So,
my biggest concern is that it's evil business. It doesn't bring anything into the world.
But the addictive component
what do we
of gambling.
we have vice
works
clauses
the
in our
perfect
fund. Does
alternative.
our fund has vice clauses? Yeah. Maybe
so
we have vice clauses.
it is slightly disappointing that we got alcohol and we got betting. You know, it's slightly concerning. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but okay. So those are the four companies. Let's do, shall we do a straw poll right now?
I think
so. Well, okay. Let's do it this way. Nunu, I keep hitting you. I'm sorry. That's good.
So ugly.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite?
I'd say probably, despite all My Buddy AI they've launched, they have some traction. I think it's a space that can scale. There's a significant TAM in there. I think of the four, maybe that would be my bet.
Okay, Harshita?
I like Palette Club, and I'm curious about Zen Sports.
Wow. Okay. So you're not helping.
Going well.
Okay. So, but I'm hearing Palette Club is kind of your lead. Pavel.
So I made the promise to my wife not investing in evil things. So
She's your real boss.
I'm not going to invest in betting and alcohol, and I couldn't understand the holistic air. I think it's probably 10 years before the market. So I would put on My Buddy.
Okay, Michael, not to be influenced by your colleagues here. Where are you?
Yeah, I think Zen Sports has traction. They have early traction, big market. Founder who's built a business before. I think Zen Sports is interesting. Obviously, still questions about the business model itself, in the sense of like, kind of, do you need to use blockchain or not? But good initial traction.
So you're leaning towards Zen Sports as your favorite. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so we got a lot of diversity here.
I have Ken's votes as well too.
So, and oh, what's Ken? And what did
Ken is
tell us?
also, he did rank Zen Sports as number 1.
Okay, you know, I'm sorry, you got to be present to play, right? Okay.
You can
But
tiebreak.
I did hear that enthusiasm, right? So, okay, we got a couple for my buddy, a couple for Zen Sports, and then Harshita is, you know, sort
the
of
middle
bouncing
between
between.
Can we eliminate anyone?
But can we eliminate what?
Anyone?
Well, we've eliminated holistic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we've eliminated holistic.
Talk to me about why you guys don't like Palette Club. So like I probably have a bias against subscription and like box model type things. I just think it's such a saturated market and there's something for everything. But the whole Palette Club thing, I feel like a really large percentage of alcohol sales are kind of immediate and I want it now. So that's why, you know, the corner store business or the grocery store business or
Yeah.
Whole Foods,
Right.
they do so well and they have a hard time, you know, intermediating that particular type of local
Right.
distributor.
Right.
Because it's like I'm going to a party, I need to grab a bottle of wine. So why do you guys not like it?
Because such businesses are very hard to scale. So it's very easy to get from 20,000 to 200,000. But when you get to $1 million a month or $2 million a month, the customer acquisition cost grows dramatically. Your logistic cost grows. That's why you don't have a leader in the space yet, even though there are like hundreds of
So
companies.
many players.
They all start very quickly and they all stop at the level between $500,000 to $1 million monthly sales.
Because
And
of
I think
logistical
brands
hurdles.
matter a lot in this space. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like I'll buy any wine. I'll buy wines from a specific grape, varietal, whatever. And it's not just the person that's spending more than $60, which I think is a fair comment that the founder was making.
Right.
That's not the market. But,
Yeah.
but even the people that are below that threshold, I think the wine, the brand matters over time, right? You will get affinity for brands.
Yeah.
Both of those make sense.
Okay, so Harshita, are you willing to change your point of view?
Oh, yeah, I'm not. I definitely was, you know, straddling the fence between those two just because I'm intrigued by.
But you don't
Listen,
like my
I don't
buddy,
know
huh?
any. So like I spent a little time in the ed tech space and it's ironic because the concerns that I have with my buddy really, really come down to scalability. I think education is one of those things where virtual and AI will be a really great complement to in-person, but I don't think it's going to replace it, which is why I think the one that you invested in is actually, it's more conducive to like being able to make an impact on a kid that wants to learn English. Just like, you know,
But on the other hand, Duolingo and Rosetta and
yeah,
all these,
but I think
all these
those are
other
all,
guys,
you know,
Babbel,
they're not
they've scaled.
replaced. That's true, but
Right.
they're not replacements. I think they're complements, which I don't know. I have some concerns around the scalability of that because of it.
Yeah.
Over the long term, I wonder about conversational aspect and how structured versus unstructured it is. I think it's relatively unstructured, so how will that fare in terms of retention?
Yeah.
Also, like for instance, you know, I grew up speaking another language that I don't read or write, and my ability to, you know, converse in that is super limited because I don't know how to read and write it. So to your point, like it was just
Right.
something, you know, we learned at home for fun.
Okay, all right.
This is
Guys, we're getting the, pardon?
I wanted to say that I agree that we should probably put my buddy on the wait list and see how they scale in the next 6 months and maybe come back to that when they're close to 100,000 a month in revenue, because that's a tipping point for this kind of business.
So,
But
where's-
Zen Sports has
where's
even
Zen-
less traction,
right,
They have
right.
very little traction.
Zen Sports
They have
isn't even-
125
Right.
customers. That's why their averages are so high.
Well, let me suggest the following. The way we
Yes.
would do it in
Yes.
a situation like this,
Right.
we would ask for strong yes or strong no's.
Yes.
Would anybody be willing to take the lead on Zen Sports and, you know, put your partner's reputation on it?
I guess you have the.
Well, that was, Michael, you're the only one who
Michael.
is leading, and Ken's gone, right? So, I mean, yeah.
Would you skew your carry towards Zen Sports?
Yes, right. Who wants to be the point?
And take away some of your other carry-on?
So you're going to appoint Ken.
I think of the four. This is the one I would bet on.
You would want to lead. Okay.
four, yeah.
So
Of the four,
you're
I'm sure.
okay.
Of the four.
And
Yeah,
so,
of the four.
Harshita, you're jumping on Zen?
Yeah, of the four, I think I would join him. Yeah.
You would join that? Okay. And Pavel, and you know, are you against it because you hate betting, or because you think you don't think it's it's
Well,
going to be
assuming
scalable?
my wife
or-
is not here and you're not going to tell
Get
her.
a side letter.
Yeah, right.
For me, the issue, I have it with this business. I mean,
Yeah.
I invested in a company that was in the fantasy sports space. They sold to DraftKings. I'm very happy with that. I've looked at skills games all the time. I have great friends of mine who make a ridiculous amount of capital.
You're saying if these guys
But
sort
it's
of
just very
figure this
early. It's
out-
unclear to me that this is actually
Well, they're all
gonna scale
early.
and work.
They are early. They're all early, right?
Yeah,
So-
but it's, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
on the peer-to-peer side.
But
why
let's,
blockchain,
okay,
et
guys,
cetera.
we'll slow roll these guys. It'll take 3 months for us to get an investment done, right? So who do you think over the next 3 months is going to show the most traction, the most momentum?
The wine club.
Yeah, for sure. Which is, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I think in 3
Easy to
months
get
we'll
to
know
the
a lot
cash.
more about traction with each of them. I think.
So my buddy is
we'll-
growing 20% a month.
I think we'll know in 3 months
But off the
a lot more
tiniest
about
of
my buddy.
bases.
Hopefully in 3 months, Holistic Air will have some more kind of idea about their distribution and kind of partnerships with mass companies, right?
Okay.
And Zen Sports. I mean, I think 3 months will tell us a lot about all of them.
Okay, so
need to make a
given,
decision, right?
yeah. So where are you now?
I'm still with my buddy.
My buddy, where are you?
I'm still probably with the Zen Sports.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
switching.
Pavel?
Pellets is out, yeah.
Pavel?
Yeah.
If we have to choose, I'm okay with Zen Sports, just to make it work.
Michael?
Zen
Zen? Okay, so we're
this-
going with Zen. All right.
This is my majority.
Okay.
It's not unanimous?
Come on up. There's our
So
awesome
wait.
trophy.
All right.
Take a
Congratulations. Okay. Good job. So weren't you on this stage last year pitching real estate?
I actually won this in 2014 for my last company.
That's awesome.
I did not want to bring
Perfect.
that up, but okay.
maybe best
All
of
right.
luck this time.
Congratulations. Great job.
Thank you.
Okay, so are we out of time, or
Yes,
do we
we
have?
are.
We are. We got to get off the stage.
Yep.
Okay, so all right. Well, thank you guys. We were hoping to have a little time to get your questions, but thank you for everything. All right.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, thanks, man. Thank you, Will.
Thank you.